Hey, welcome to another episode of the Miami Comedy Podcast. I'm Manny, your host. And today we're going to talk about the 12 ways that you can level up in the city. Picture Miami like the brand new GTA. We're all characters and we get to customize ourselves with skill sets in order to adapt and become better players at the game that is the 305. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about all the different ways that you can be a little more flexible with your personality and talents and skills, and maybe even the people you meet, in order for you to really level up and become the best version of you to adapt to this big city that is Miami. All right, number one, you got to get a side gig. But not just any side gig. You want to get a side gig that the people of Miami will actually pay for. You know, for example, dog walking. Go even further into the market and just say French Bulldog walkers only. If you go in Brickell and you have just French Bulldogs on the title of your company, believe me, they're going to go with you a lot more. Let's just say you know that dog species more than any other dog walker. Who are you going to trust with your French Bulldog? Somebody that walks Labradors and Chihuahuas, or somebody that only, specifically, and exclusively walks French Bulldogs? Another thing you consider is emotional support yacht rentals. There's a lot of people out there that are just traumatized by the city that is Miami and all the people that they've interacted with, whether it be exes or whether it be business partners or whether it just be somebody they got in a fight with in a road rage. Offer them a yacht ride that will soothe all of their pain, allowing them to become more relaxed so that when they go back into the city of Miami, they're better people. Maybe even come up with something a little more techie. What about a parking spot locator? The people of Brickell will pay a monthly subscription just to see where they can park next. Imagine all the time you're saving if you invented this. So these are just a couple of ideas on how you can start something on the side that can give you a little bit of extra revenue. Because believe me, you're going to need it in the city of Miami. You know, now that I mention it about the emotional support yacht rides, I think the next thing you can do, the second thing, is heal your trauma. Because Miami's going to expose that anyway. Our city's very quick, and we meet a lot of personalities here. And let's just say they're not all mature. So you're going to have to make sure you adapt. And how do you do that? You got to make sure you got to heal yourself. Make sure that you're more mature. You got to rise above and see the playing field a little bit better. And you can do that by getting in touch with the things that make you tick, the things that you were born to believe, and then just letting that go. Unlearn in order for you to learn this better version of you. All right, for number 3, you got to do a lot of networking. Master the art of meeting new people and actually making an effort to be their friends. I'm not talking about just shaking hands or dapping up people at a bar while you're blacked out. I'm talking about making meaningful connections with people that may just change your life or at least upgrade your social circle a little bit. Of course, you don't want to be the kind of person that is a status seeker. Like all you're doing is trying to find the next status person in your group. Not recommending that at all, because eventually you're just going to get shot down. Everyone's going to know you're a jerk, that you're just out there looking for opportunities for yourself. You got to make sure you give opportunities to other people. Go out there. Find out where the cool people are that are into the stuff that you're into. Like, for example, where are the places that you can go to talk about crypto? If that's your thing, go to those things. Where do you go to have a nice fancy dinner with a close group of 12 that are exclusively there just for the dinner? What about tobacco rolling, right? Go out there, learn how to roll a good tobacco. All these little things, they're out there here in the city of Miami. They're small groups. But nonetheless, there are people that are interested in these kinds of things. Just make sure you don't go in too deep and then you start buying NFTs to be into the group or something like that, because most likely those are scams. All right, here's number 4. And it backs up what I said previously about being a good networker. Add on being a good listener too. Because eventually you're going to come across somebody that's either trying to scam you or sell you something, and you're going to be better at spotting those. But being a good listener really connects you with other people. It makes you more engaging, believe it or not. You're just sitting back and letting them talk. Next thing you know, you get to understand the human condition a little bit better. People love it when you remember the little details about them. And it's great for gossiping. So if you want to get some cheeseman in your life, good listening definitely gets you more of that. You get to understand people's agendas. You get to understand people's intentions. You get to understand if someone's a red flag. Or you get a better understanding on who's an undercover cop. All right, number 5, and this is a really good one. Stay financially flexible. Now, what do I mean by that? Sure, you can go out and splurge, enjoy your life. If you're about that life, go ahead and do it. You want to live luxuriously? Go out there and enjoy it. But you also got to be flexible enough to go on the other side of that spectrum. You don't want to go too hard. You don't want to get too accustomed to that lifestyle, because eventually it'll drain you. To be quite honest, I believe that Miami does have an agenda when it comes to all the new people coming into our city. They know they got deep pockets and they're going for it. The city of Miami has raised its prices and they have no shame in adding a little price gouging here and there, whether it's entry covers or $30 margaritas or, expensive dishes, whatever. There's a lot of price hiking here because we know these people are in our city and we want it. Okay? But at the same time, us as locals, you shouldn't be succumbing to that lifestyle too much. You've seen the difference. You know how Miami was before and how it is now. It's pretty apparent that there's a big money grab happening. But you know what? If you're financially flexible, you can enjoy both worlds. You can go out to that fancy restaurant and pay for an expensive drink. But you can also go to a Flanagan's parking lot and just drink yourself a Four Loko with some good friends. If you have that balance, you're financially flexible. All right, so for number 6, learn how to speak wealthy. And I'm not talking about stock markets and crypto and money and all that. No, I'm talking about like being able to just hang around wealthy people without coming off a certain way. One thing that I learned about wealthy people, they're really good at intuition. Sometimes. But wealthy people, they know the playing field a little bit better. They kind of understand their socioeconomic boundaries. They know who's an in person, who's an out person. And in order for you to kind of get this intuition, you just have to be a listener. Just a little throwback from the previous one. But it's also being able to communicate with them about things that they find valuable, right? You got to make sure that you can hang in there and, not go too off the rails into showing something off or trying to get into their group. Maybe just a couple of, oh, that's fascinating here and there. What else? Tell me more. And you don't say, oh my God. And then, laugh at all their jokes. Shake hands, just say hello, offer them a drink, even though I'm sure they can get that drink a bunch of times, but still, just offer it to them. You'd be surprised how just a little bit of kindness around wealthy people, just being generous around them, allows them to kind of see you as an in-person because you come off like you don't want anything in return. You're just being kind. And there's a big difference between being kind and being nice, and people can tell. If you're nice, you want something. If you're kind, you're just trying to express that you're positively hanging around people. So just keep that distinction in mind. Oh yeah, also ask them for advice. Wealthy people love giving advice because they've lived experiences that are unique to them. And you may learn something from those unique experiences. Things like how do you avoid taxes, or how do you hide a body, or how do you cash out on insurance without making it too obvious? You never know. You might gain one piece of insight that will change your life forever. But hopefully it's not prison. All right, number 7, if you really want to adapt in the city of Miami, stay culturally curious. You see, the thing about Miami is that we're in the Matrix, all right? We're living in a bubble, but that's what gives Miami its charm. The fact that we're so superficial, and yet we're out here thriving, doing our own thing, staying in our own lane. However, if you really want to get yourself to the next level, you got to be curious about what else is outside of Miami. Not only will this give you great conversations, and it'll also allow you to connect with other cultures, maybe you make friends or dating partners that, especially since they're moving here. Being culturally curious just makes you a smarter person. You want to be around people that aren't stuck inside of a box, right? So if you're the kind of person that, likes a good movie or reads a couple of books or articles or creates content, you like switching your dating partners, you want to date somebody from around the world, whatever. Think outside the box here in the city of Miami. Believe me, you'll stand out a lot more. No one wants, see, the thing is that even though we've got this charm, no one wants to hang out with an NPC in the city of Miami. Somebody that's inside of the box, pre-programmed, can't think outside of it, stuck in their own ways. Their reality is the only reality they can fathom. You want to be the kind of person that becomes a little more curious on how the world works outside of Miami. You know what I mean? Even though we're our own world in our own way, it's good to understand that 3 hours in any direction is totally different than the way we have it here. Not counting traffic, of course. And number 8, try not to indulge too much. You want to work hard, play hard, but you also want to make sure that there's a nice balance between the two. Know when not to go to brunch. Know when to just get a $10 carton of eggs and cooking some eggs at home. Know when to stop doom scrolling and looking at people that don't even know who you are. You don't want to be that person that is too indulged in how awesome Miami is, because believe me, the temptation is always there, right around the corner. It's just waiting for you to get sucked in and lose your ways and forget about your values and, that feeling of FOMO or whatever people feel when they got to go to every single party. You got to make sure that you also make time for yourself because you need to recharge. Because if you're going out there and you're just indulging too much, eventually you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out spiritually, physically, with all the sex, mentally, with all the drama, and your wallet's going to get drained out too. So you got to make sure you got to find a nice balance where you can work hard and play hard. And besides, if you work hard, you want to save up some of that, because eventually when the prices keep going up, you got a little nest egg that'll cover your back and take you to the next tax bracket, just in case. You want to adapt that too. Okay, so for number 9, this one might sound a bit off, but you might want to learn how to make a social media presence for yourself. Not necessarily put your whole life publicly like some content creators. I'm talking about knowing the social media game in the city of Miami. It's very important here. Your digital footprint and the things you post and the things you talk about and what you want to be known for is really taken at face value in our city. It's the reason why so many people move here, because the content creators in our city are just really good at creating a lifestyle and posting about it. And you should do the same. No matter what endeavor you do in your life, you could talk about anything. Whether if you got a vintage car, talk about your vintage car. If you work in finance, talk about what it's like to be financially responsible in the city of Miami. There's a lot of opportunities here for personal growth. But you got to make sure you don't lose yourself in the trends. There's a lot of trends that come and go. I think the trends of Miami come faster and leave faster. You just wake up, something's going on, 4 or 5 people talk about it, and then we're done with it. We go on to the next thing. So just make sure you don't lose yourself in trends. You do your own thing, become yourself. And the next thing you know, you might get featured on a big page if you ever get in an accident, and they'll tag you, and that's free clout. So for number 10, I got a great one for you. Become weatherproof. Be ready for all kinds of weather. From hot to cold to wet to humid to sunny to dry. Have it all ready. Here's what I do. I always have a rain jacket, some shorts, some flip-flops, some boots in the trunk of my car. Ready for all kinds of spontaneous weather. You might even want to get a couple of towels or napkins in your car to kind of brush off the sweat, because sometimes air conditioner isn't enough. Some of this heat can be a bit much, but if you've got enough practice, you're able to maintain yourself and adapt to all these kinds of weather conditions that we have in the city of Miami. And it's never just one kind of weather. Here in the city of Miami, we don't trust our meteorologists. We don't even bother looking at what the weatherman has to say. We just look out the window and we guess what's going to be the next thing after that. It's like, oh, it's really sunny today. I'm going to assume that it's going to get cloudy and humid later. So let me wear some breathable underwear just in case that happens. Bam, weatherproof. Number 11, embrace spontaneity, because plans will always change, and sometimes you're going to be the one changing it. You see, here in the city of Miami, we're always late, fashionably late, because we got to let people know we're doing more important things, even though we're really not. But it doesn't matter. You got to make sure that you go with the flow. Time is an illusion, especially in the city of Miami. You can appear wherever you want, whenever you want, or just not show up at all. You got lost in a whole different time zone. But you don't need to explain all that. You just got to make sure that you know and understand spontaneity in our city. One of the things that we adapt to in the city of Miami is understanding just how flaky we are, we ghost, and we really just don't care. Because one night you would be going out to a party, and then the next night you're out at a fancy dinner, and then after that you go to an after party, but then the next morning you're doing yoga. All we're really doing is just juggling a bunch of spontaneous things, and hopefully it becomes a good lifestyle. It's a coin toss, and we like it like that here in the city of Miami, and that's what makes us very flexible and adaptable, and that's why we get to our last one. Number 12, be ready to reinvent yourself daily. Now, I don't know if you know the word reinventing, but it definitely has a lot to do with not being the same person you were before. I know, sounds weird. Character is very important for people, but sometimes we break the rules here in the city of Miami. So you want to make sure that you reinvent yourself as often as you can, and sometimes that takes getting into a whole different tax bracket, getting into a whole different business venture, getting into a whole different relationship, maybe even bending the law a little bit, not breaking it, bending it, but then maybe the next day you break it. Whatever it may be, you got to make sure that you experiment with everything you do in your life. You got to approach it with a sense that this is only temporary, and eventually you can always start a new life. And that's what Miami's all about. Yesterday was yesterday. Tomorrow never knows. But today, I can do both at the same time. No one will judge you because they're on that exact same path. So good luck out there. And make sure you become a better person the next time. That is it for today's episode of the Miami Comedy Podcast. If you have any skills or any sort of ideas on how we can level up our game here in the city, leave it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next video.